one. All the things.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Keep the Mic On. I am simply Sherry, one of the four members of this collective who is traveling today, so I'm not at my normal computer. But we are really excited to have you here tonight. I'm really excited to hear this interview. My week is called From Behind the Microphone, where I get to take the time to get to know the person behind the poems, the person behind the art. We have been doing this every week since March of 2020, almost every week since March of 2020, and it is really, really a great time and a great conversation. I know you'll hear this more than once right now, but it's definitely time for you to call your friends, let them know that the show is on. Let them know because they don't want to miss it. Right now, I'm going to kick it to the one, the only girl genius.
Hey everyone, it is Girl Genius. It is great to be here for another week. Um, my week is actually first week of every month, and I am. Let's talk about the usually book, but we are going to pull some other products and things. I have two pieces of news, and we'll get to that in a minute. I also do a nice little, we like to talk about our past guests and our past segments, so we'll get to that before we get into the new thing. So news of the week. One of our previous guests um, has scored a publishing contract with Bright Bloody, which is pretty freaking awesome if you ask me. And that'd be Courtney
Yes.
Ross here last year. And also,
Congratulations, Courtney.
congratulations to her. And also, we had not this past December, previous year. So season one, the end of, I want to say it was December. We had John Good on. If any of you are familiar with him, he was on, like I said, I want to say December. He is going to be on Broadway with he's part of the Moth, which is the storytelling group. Oh my God, it's absolutely amazing. But the Moth is going to do Broadway. So we've had Grammy nominated people on here. We've had people win major book awards. So we like to shout out like previous guests who've done like really awesome things since the last time we've talked to them.
Wait a minute. Wait a second. We also have to shout out Teresa the Songbird for performing for the LA Clippers.
The LA Clippers. Yes, Teresa
Yes.
Songbird performed in front of the LA Clippers.
Yes, so we definitely want to shout
amazing. That's absolutely amazing. That is absolutely
I'm glad
amazing.
that we always have more good news about all our artists.
Mm-hmm. Our friends are great. Isn't that it? Isn't that the end of the sentence? Our friends are awesome.
Period.
So, all right. I've got my segment. I've got my piece out of the way. I am going to kick it to Miss Cayenne.
Hey, everybody. It's Miss Cayenne. I'm a poet and I know it. I'm so excited for today's segment. The name alone makes me excited because I love words, right? So I'm Miss Cayenne. I have Second Sundays, which is passion projects. And our guests, we get an opportunity to understand why you do what you do, basically. So getting behind the why of the art and the artist. So excited for that as well. We are going to kick it now to Kaniki J, who's going to introduce herself.
Hello, I am Kaniki Jakarta. My segment, which is tonight, and I'm very excited, is called Poets and Platforms. But I have to say, if you would like to support us, first, tell everybody that we're streaming live and they've been missing it, and they can come now on either Facebook or YouTube. And if you want to support us financially so we can continue to keep the mic on, you can do that on Cash App and Patreon. Yes, so we really do appreciate that. Tonight is going to be awesome and amazing. I'm very excited. Very excited, number one, that she said yes, that she wanted to be on here. That's number one, because these people that come on here, they're not paid, they're volunteer their time. So we definitely try to use their time wisely. I met her on a feature. This young lady, Tatiana, featured both of us as the first Black Poet Laureate. And we just was vibing on the screen, and then after that, we was like, you my homie after that. after that, we've never met in person. We've just done things online. So I've been trying to feature her everywhere. I've been watching her, following her. I Googled her, watched her videos, seen her commercial, heard her sing. Child, she is amazing. So I'm just glad. Everybody says that this is a masterclass, and this time is going to be no different. So I'm going to read you a little bit of her bio before I bring her on. And let me tell you, I know I always say this, but by the time I read the bio is expired, especially for a person like this one who is continuously doing things. So, child, they'll be having time to be updated by bio. So we'll ask her what's missing from this bio. This is a short bio. Okay, so she goes by the name Vocab. Her name's Andrea Sanderson. She is the first African American poet laureate of San Antonio. She serves as a teaching artist for Gemini Link and is Academy of American Poets Fellow. Her debut book is entitled She Lives in Music by Flower Song Press and was published February 2020. So you definitely need to get yours. Her music is available on her music is streaming on all major platforms. Some awards that she has the People's Choice Award from 2019, Best Live Entertainment Band Musician of the Year, the Arts and Letters Awards by Friends of San Antonio Public Library, Best Literary Advocate 2021, San Antonio Magazine, Best Local Poet 2021, and from the San Antonio Current. So I'm gonna bring her on in. Hey.
Hi, beautiful lady with that wonderful smile. Look at your Colgate smile.
Child. I want you to show everybody your shirt. This is number one. Where? I'm trying
Jowls from Queens, New York, repping that coming to America.
I'm saying. I was like, what? So I'm loving your hair, loving your smile. Thank you very much for joining us today. I'm going to ask you to start us off with a piece. I'm going to exit myself and come right back with my smile.
Yes, we love it. Okay, so hopefully you can still hear me. I'm gonna switch to another screen so I can read this poem. All right, it's called The W's of Womanhood. Warrior, armed with praying hands using spiritual warfare, worn like a wool cloak, wound tight like clocks with new springs, a weapon with a polished pistol and garter belt, whimsical as a giggle on pouty lips. Wickedly wise, we've been conjuring since the ancient times. Wealthy, we never run out of resources, and we somehow have the wisdom to just make do. Wishful, hoping, and faithful, we store this bounty in our bosom, woke to the struggle and acutely aware of the circumstance. Wired and live, electric currents fulminous throughout the body, and oh, this body. Waves of heat radiating over womb, the warmest, softest heaven, weeping for everything lost and accounting for everything kept. Wounded, whether gaping or sutured, things are composed, and everything reeks of bleeding, scarlet dignity. Watchful and tracking every moment with intuition and piercing pupils, eyes darting like a feline in the shadows. Work wears on youth, whittles it down to shavings on the wooden floor of time, and every wrinkle is characterized by virtue gained. We are washed in this water as we rinse this blood from our legs, wrap our heads to preserve our thoughts and shield our glory, brighter than a red giant. We are just a dying star that has fallen to the earth. Yes, the stars are dying to become a woman. The dust of the atmosphere is bursting through the universe within me, and I am a woman, a supernatural force of cosmic power. That's that piece.
I'm sorry, I'm all back here saying yes. I forgot I had to add myself back to the screen. See, I'm tripping today. That was a wonderful poem. Thank you for doing that on the 27th of February while we're heading into National Women's Month. So definitely appreciate that piece. So, I have to get those beginning questions out, the questions that everybody asks poet. Every time you interview, people are going to say, what influences your writing?
What influences my writing? I think it's my passion for people. Like, I love people. I love self-expression. I have been a fan of poetry ever since I can remember because I started writing when I was 6 years old. At least that's my earliest memory. So who knows what I might have been doing before then, might have been doing it then. My influences, some of my major influences are, Maya Angelou, Langston Hughes, Lauryn Hill, Jill Scott, you know what I'm saying? Just people who put it all out there on the page and have filled our hearts with wonders for years because of their expressions have been so just larger than life to me as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm. So you started writing at 6 years old. When did you know that you were a poet?
Well, I think around age 13, I lost a friend to violence. And I wrote a poem for her memorial service, and I read it at her memorial service. I read it for her family. And when I saw the effects that the poem had, its ability to connect, because sometimes trying to talk to people, trying to interact with other people, we can be awkward. We might not know
Mhm.
what to say or how to say it. But if you put it in your art and in your expression, that bridges the gap in between humans and creates this connection. And so
Mhm.
that's what I've been using poetry for.
Yay! So have now, of course, now we know that you're the first Black poet laureate. I don't know if you use Black or African American. I say Black child.
I'm fine with
I'm just
Black.
saying.
I'm
I'll be
good.
like Black so I can say Black and proud. That's why I'd be like Black, and that's what's on my birth certificate. It say Black. It say Black on
Right.
my birth certificate. Yeah. So I'm like, that's what I use. But do you feel? Well, first let's talk about being the first of something, right? Let's start there. Did you know like it was history when you got it? When you were going into it, did you think this is history that's being made, or did you realize it once you got it?
Um, Geez, that is a very good question. Well, I feel like I knew going into the situation because I'm different from the other poets laureate here in San Antonio. Like, I don't have the education level that they have. I'm what they called a slam poet. When they
Hmm.
gave it to me, they were like, "You're the first slam poet we had." So I knew that I was quote unquote uneducated. Like I've just learned from experience and that I know that I wasn't like run. I've taught on the collegiate level in universities. I've taught workshops on that level. But as far as running in those circles, like on a continual basis, that's not really my realm. My realm is more performance art. So I
Mhm.
realized going into it that, I was changing. I was a big change for, because in San Antonio, Black people make up about 6 to 7% of the population. So yeah, very
That's amazing.
acutely aware of my Blackness in most cases.
That's amazing. So what did you have to do? I definitely get asked these questions. What was the qualifications, or what did you have to do to become Madam Poet Laureate?
So the city has a website called Get Creative SA, something like that. But it's the city's website for arts and culture, and they put out a call with the criteria. The criteria is someone else has to write you a recommendation letter. They have to send in all of your like a list of your publishings and your works cited. They have to turn in your bio and your resume, and then like 5 samples of your work that
Interesting.
are published, 5 published samples of your work, I believe, or something like that. And so you submit this packet. These people don't even live in Texas that look at our packets. And I think there were 7 applicants or people submitted. And so I had 3 people recommend me personally, one of my bosses, and then the former poet laureate, and then one other person. All 3 of these people recommended me, sent my packet in, and I got it, and I'm happy.
Wow. So you knew that they were doing it, right?
Right. They have to, because there's no way they're going to know all that stuff about you,
Right.
like where you grew up, what you have published, and you have to turn in your samples anyway with your writings in it. So I have to have those people's letters and stuff. So yeah, I gave them my.
Interesting. That's different from our every. The reason I ask that because every city, state, county, their process is different, right? So that's why I'm asking. I know you are. You're moving into your last year of poet laureate?
Yes, yeah. So my term ends at the end of March of 2023. So yeah.
Okay. All right. So when you first got it, did you have to like present your duties of what you wanted to do, or was a job title like the duties given to you?
Well, there weren't any duties per se, but they said, "Hey, what initiative do you want to create as your I call it signature initiative, legacy initiative, whatever you want to call it."
Mhm.
And I had to submit that to the city, and it was funny because when I submitted, I knew exactly what I wanted to do because it was a project that I had given to a certain community center, like
Mhm.
theater, and they were kind of working on it, but we were moving very slowly. They had said yes to it. It was just like we hadn't started manifesting it yet. And
Mhm.
so I just sent it to the city. They were like, "Oh, that's cute. Okay, cool. We were thinking you could do something like this." And I was like, so
Interesting.
I was like, "Okay, you're gonna try to tell me what I should do instead of me giving you
Interesting.
my signature initiative." So I just went to the Academy of American Poets and got me a
Mhm.
little fellowship for $50,000. And I was like, "I'm gonna
Yes.
do my thing, what I wanted to do."
Yeah, so we're going to talk about that too because I definitely want to. I mean, because I promoted you as the African American Poet Laureate of San Antonio, so we definitely want to talk about that, right? So San Antonio, this is your person. Let me tell this is your people. Let me let y'all know, okay? But how has being Poet Laureate or has it changed your writing style?
Well, I don't know. You know what? I think my writing has gotten better. I don't know exactly all the ways I would say that it's gotten better, but I know that I've been stretched. I've had to write a lot of different types of poems. I've been commissioned to write some things, and I talk more about a deep dive into identity
Mhm.
as I've been exploring this space because the types of poems that people have asked of me. I mean, we saw Black Lives Matter resurgence or its imminence it come to being
Mhm.
because it started ramping up when or it came to be when Mike Brown and Trayvon were killed, right?
Mhm.
um and then we moved into the season of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery, and so it was amplified. And so when that happened, the shift came and people were like, "You got to write something. What you gonna write? What you got to say?" And it wasn't just Black people, it was white people too. They was like, can you come and talk about this at our establishment, at our church,
Mhm.
at our whatever. And so I found myself having to write a lot of pieces of Black identity or a Black woman in San Antonio, or a Black person living in this world where Black people are being murdered on a regular basis.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
all of this happened, and it was hard enough. I'm like, I'm trying to just deal with my emotions. Can I breathe a minute? But no, it was the responsibility and the weight of this mantle of
Mhm.
being, I call it a prophet. We're prophets. We're called to speak to the present and the future of what's
Mhm.
happening in this world. And you can't take that mantle lightly.
Right, right. I was going to ask that because for a minute in that time I was like still, and then asking to write about that. I'm like, okay, this is not just a poem. This is my life. This is me trying to explain now to my then 17, almost 18-year-old daughter about what's happening. Like and her just like and yeah. So yeah, but I'll tell you about that later because this is about you. It's not about me. But it
But
was
you
it
need to
was
talk about it, sis. So I'm
but it
I'm more
was
than happy. We can
difficult.
take some time here. If you need to talk about it, then we can
Right,
go right
but
ahead.
wasn't it, like a friend of mine, okay, a friend of mine called and said somebody from the newspaper was like, why isn't our poet laureate writing about this? Because your poet laureate is Black and this is, her life. And I'm trying to
She's
explain,
trying. She's trying
I'm
right now.
trying to get my life together because it's too much happening. And then I was asked to write a poem about George Floyd, and I'm like, can't write a poem about George Floyd. I got to write about Breonna Taylor. I got to write about Trayvon. I got to write about everybody, all the folks that you don't know. I can't just write one poem about George Floyd. George Floyd got a whole lot of poems. It's a lot of things happening. You understand what I'm saying?
But Brianna was
So
so we
yeah.
needed to advocate for her. And I wrote a poem for Breonna Taylor, and it hit me on a whole different level from probably a lot of people, not different from you, but I'm a first responder. I'm plus size. I'm a brown girl. You know what I'm
Oh my
saying? I sleep
God.
during the day. And I was thinking about that. What if, I'm sleeping in my bed during the day, my sister's
Mhm.
working here in the living room, and the cops bust in my house talking with a no knock order,
Right.
searching, shooting, what, like I saw myself in her, and
Right.
it broke my heart.
Right.
And as Black women, we have to weep for each other. We have to celebrate each other,
Mhm.
but we definitely have to weep for each other,
Mhm.
and we have to advocate for each other. And yeah.
Yes, I mean, that's how I felt. I did write a poem. They weren't ready for my poem. They didn't do anything with it. But you know what?
Mm.
WUSA 9 picked it up, so it was fine. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? But anyway,
Somebody will listen.
yes.
Somebody
But
will listen.
anyway, yeah. I mean, it's a lot. So, do you think that your responsibility as poet laureate is different because you're Black?
Yes. I mean, I don't think the poets laureate here. I'm the fifth poet laureate of San Antonio, Texas, just to give a little bit more context to it. Definitely the first Black one, and a performance artist. The first poet laureate, Dr. Carmen Tafoya here in San Antonio. She was definitely a performance artist as well as a published literary poet. You know, and I can say that the expectations on my shoulders, because I was doing a lot of work before I became poet laureate. So people expected me to do more than the a lot that I was already doing.
Mhm.
And I feel like I've stepped up to the plate in all those capacities. And I rarely say no to people when they ask me to do stuff. I'm exhausted. I know that. I'm
Mhm.
emotionally,
Mhm.
I'm exhausted there too. And I'm transparent about it. I'm not going to actually, like Black women, we're superheroes, and that's just what it is.
Yeah.
And they actually there's a local publication called the San Antonio Current that I got an award for. They called me best local poet, but they also put me as a superhero. Like they got an illustrator,
Wow.
and I had a purple costume, and it was me and several other people on the cover. It was like six of us. The mayor was one of the people that they illustrated as a superhero. A sportscaster. There was this because we won the best of awards, so I was best
Mhm.
local poet. So whoever won best of in certain categories, they chose certain people and they illustrated us. Yeah,
Wow. That's fantastic.
it was a blessing.
Yeah, so during your term as poet laureate, COVID came. Dun dun dun. How did you pivot? First of all, not just how did you pivot first, how did you feel? How did you like I'm now poet laureate? You're saying I'm the first Black poet laureate. I am one of the people who got it on my talent, not on my degree. You're saying that, and then you like now I have to stay inside. How did you feel? And then how did you pivot?
For me, there was no pivot because the shutdown happened 2 weeks before I was announced as poet laureate. So I didn't get my ceremony, my party. I didn't get any of that. But they said, here's an extra year with no pay.
Oh, with no pay. Oh my
Yeah.
god. Oh my
So
god.
that's what happened for me. And so I came into it at home thinking about what will I do to get people writing when they're probably suffering from depression and
Mhm.
anxiety and don't know when we're going to be able to go outside. Our events are being canceled. Our artistic economy it took a not a hit, it took a bomb. It took like a nuclear bomb.
Mm,
The because nobody was doing shows. And so we had to figure out how we're gonna, or are we gonna do online? Are we not gonna do online?
right.
How am I gonna teach at home? How am I gonna teach a creative writing class in my bedroom and try to wrangle these kids in to make them listen to poetry? How am I gonna be dynamic and connect
Mm,
through this screen live time with people, like real time?
mm,
And all of that happened all at once. So the first thing that I did was I created a hashtag challenge for writing, where I had people write these digital poems. It was called the My Tongue Is Challenged. I got My Tongue Is Challenged. I got like over 250 people created digital posters. People in Australia were doing it. People locally were doing it. And
mm.
I consider it a success to have so many people decide that they were going to write poetry. So that was the first thing I did. And I did some online Facebook groups for writing, one for under 20, no, one for 18 and under, 17 and yes, yeah, 0 to 17, and then like 18 and up. I had
Mm.
called Invite to Write Essay.
Nice.
So then I started doing like videos. I became a host on Texas Public Radio of this show called Worth Repeating, which is a storytelling series, and we did it virtually. And then we had radio segments for it as well as like virtual video segments. I did a lot of things.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So I saw the commercial that you did about the COVID. So I mean, I don't want to tell people because I mean I already know what happened when you was trying to help us out with the COVID. So I'm gonna let you tell the people what happened.
Yes.
How were you asked to do that, or did you go to someone to do it?
No, they approached me via email and called me, and they said we're picking people from different genres, and we would like, so we had like someone that did Tejano style music, which is like this Mexican form of music that involves accordion, and
Hmm.
it's real. You just have to hear it. Some people have never heard Tejano. I understand that's the context of. They had somebody that did like a country version, a rock version, indie pop, and they asked me to do like hip hop and R&B and spoken word. They were like, "Just do a poem or something." I was like, "I'm not gonna do a poem. I'm gonna hit you with this R&B song about COVID safety."
Mhm.
And put like, and they called that I did spoken word. I really didn't do spoken word. I
Right.
just spoke the little blurb that they tell you to say, but I just said it in poet voice, and so that was
Mhm.
my spoken word element of it. But
Mhm.
anyways, I had to shoot a video for it. Went on the bridge to shoot the video. It's this historic bridge here in San Antonio. Went to go shoot it, and somewhere on that bridge, someone had COVID and gave it to me. So I'm up there doing a COVID safety. Hey, wear your mask, be safe, wash your hands. I get COVID, and it's funny. The day that we unveiled the video, I was in a city council meeting, virtual city council meeting, sitting up there with COVID-19, sick as a dog, like smiling at them, showing them this video that I had just finished, and I was like, I am so sick, and I got
Mhm.
off line. I logged out. I went to bed for like 9 hours. I just
Mhm.
slept. It was
Yeah.
crazy.
I knew that story, and I just wanted to bring that up because the sacrifices that's made, like people don't. I don't think people when people go out and when you're a person who is looked at for entertainment, right?
Mhm.
When people come out to hear you sing, or they're watching a show that you've done, or facilitating a workshop, or when they're getting entertained by this, right? They're not thinking about the sacrifices that is made when we're doing this, right? Because I know that I don't even have to ask you. I know it's been times that you didn't feel good, but you went anyway. I already know. I know it's been times that you've been sleepy and you went anyway. I know it's been times that you was sick or you was tired and you prepared at the last minute and went in and rocked it. Nobody knew. I know that's
Mhm.
happened. People don't,
Right.
they just don't recognize that, poets are people too. The artists are people too. And they have issues,
And
and family stuff happens.
And let's take it a step further. You got to go perform in a room with somebody who has hurt you to the core. And I'm not even talking about like physical involvement relationships. I'm just talking about people interacting with people and hurting you, damaging your emotions. And you got to go stand in front of those people and perform and be on and act like
Mhm.
everything is cool. And sometimes it's not,
It's
sis.
not cool.
It's not.
It's not cool. That's what I'm.
Yeah.
You gotta be cool when it's not cool. I mean, it.
Right.
It. Yes, I'm gonna take a pause for
Yeah,
everybody.
because you've been there. We've all been there. It's like, I gotta go in this
Yes.
room with this person. I don't want to be around them. I don't want to. You feel so vulnerable. There's so
Mm-hmm.
much vulnerability to being an artist. Like, this is your raw emotion, and you are putting it out there for people to hear, to scrutinize, to
Mm-hmm.
take in whatever they doing with it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and it's there, and you can't do anything about it. You can't cover it up. You can't dress it up. You can't put a bow
Mm-hmm.
on it. It's just your emotions.
Mm-hmm. I say. So you said all of this. I'm gonna ask you, why do you do? Why?
Because I'm crazy.
Why?
But one of the reasons why I do it, in all honesty, it goes back to being 13 years old and losing a friend, and knowing that her death couldn't be in vain, because she
Mhm.
didn't make it. I said, I made it, and I'm going to tell stories, and
Mhm.
I'm going to uplift people, and maybe I'll save some other little 13-year-old girls so they won't go out and start dating gangbangers and get killed.
Mm, mm, mm. Yes, that's
That's
part of it's just basically part of your purpose, right? That's just
Amen.
that's it. Um, we were talking about doing things on the internet, social media, all of this. Do you think that social media contributes to the well-being of artistry as a whole?
It's a double-edged sword is what I think.
Uh-huh.
It can heal and it can hurt. And it's all about how you use it and how we the power we give it, you know. You can't always read the comment section because people gonna have negative stuff to say. Like, I think about Twitter. Twitter is a rough place. It's
Mm-hmm.
like the hood. on steroids. It's like a war-torn country. It's rough. People say and do and treat people real bad and real good, but they go in and for the jugular on social media sometimes, and you got to have thick skin, and you got to know sometimes when to take people with a grain of salt, or just don't read what they have to say.
So don't read
If
anything.
they're not talking to you, just be like, hey, you're not talking to me, because you wouldn't talk to me that way. God ain't gonna,
Hello.
I'm shielded, I'm protected, and you just got to navigate the spaces. You got to pray, you got to let go of things. We cannot hold on to offenses, because people gonna keep on hurting us and keep on being ugly, and we got to let that mess go.
What a word! What a word! You gotta give them the word. You gotta give them the word. So listen, what were you doing right before? Not right before, like a year before you knew you wanted to become poet laureate? What were you doing?
The same thing I'm doing now. I just didn't have a title. I'll be honest. I feel
Come
like
on with it. Come on with it. I knew you was gonna say it. I knew you were gonna say that. I knew you were gonna say it.
Yeah, because to me, the poet laureate is just a title that accompanies the work that's already being done, and it's about being a servant. I think about, and people, I think, just to get real churchy for a minute, like, because I'm a Christian, and I know not everybody ascribes to Christianity. That's cool. You got to do what feels right for your heart. But I think about Jesus. What I've been taught is that Jesus came as God to the earth, and his purpose was to be a servant. He knew that he was here to serve people, and the humility that it takes to be the God of the universe, but know that you're coming to serve humanity, whatever their needs may be. And people ridiculed him for being a servant to humanity. And that, so, and it's like, I know that's what I'm called to do, is to serve people, to love them, to walk in understanding and patience. And I don't win every day. Not every day I'm out here doing the best job at that. Some days I'm like, F all of y'all, I'm going to bed,
Right,
but
exactly.
for the most part, I think I do all right. And the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the work.
I'm definitely a believer of that, and then taking it even more churchy. It said God made the word became flesh. The word came. Come on now, it's the word. You got the word. Come on, don't get me started. Don't get me started in here. And
I like it. This is your soapbox. Literally, this is your soapbox. I'm just here to accompany you.
Listen, I'm gonna say, listen, look, Vocab done already gave us the word, so this is a perfect opportunity for me to go ahead and pass the tip. Get on ahead and tip right there in the bottom. That's what I'm saying. Go ahead. We need a tip. I'm gonna need somebody to type that in there for us. Hold on. Wait a minute.
And I did give to the Keep the Mic On platform. Before we got started, I gave my little cash app. You know what I'm saying? Because we got to support and we got to show love.
And then listen, I know people always think they're thinking that, I really don't have a lot of money and whatever. Child, when you send that $2, that $5, that $1, whatever, you know what I'm saying? My grandma used to say, if everybody do a little, nobody got to do a lot.
Granny is wise.
Come on with it. Wise. My mama would be saying it too. That's what I'm saying. Hold on. Let me get it. I'm going to have to type it in there. I'm going to have to type it. Because our little screen we had some technical difficulties when we were coming up here. It was on there, but then it was hating on us a little bit. But y'all can see us. That's the most important thing. Listen, I usually ask people who I'm interviewing that are poets. I usually say, what other skills do you have? But I already know you are a singer. Yes, I already know that, because when we did that feature that time, and then you started singing, I was like, ooh, child, I'm in trouble. Why they put me on here with this singer person? I'm saying.
But your poetry is beautiful, though. And
thank you.
You have an effervescent personality, and I like bubbly people. You know what I'm saying? I feel like our energies go together because we're both bubbly, and you can see your passion for human beings. And I think, you were talking about using the platform of social media. I feel like you have mastered it, sis. Like, you are so good at just getting on here and being warm and inviting. And then look at how many people come out of the woodwork and start reading their poetry because you've opened this door. When they wouldn't be sharing, they would just be sitting in their house in their drawers or something. But then you're like, hey, come get online with me and spit that hot stuff a few days ago. And it's building their esteem. And
hilarious.
So people and building their self-esteem. Good job.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Sis. I want to talk about being a singer, because do you write your own lyrics? in
I write
music?
everything that come out of my mouth unless somebody's featuring and they write it because they own
So
the
how
song.
is it different? Like when you're writing poetry and writing a song, and you're a hip hop artist and you're spoken word. Is it like a different process?
It has to be something different in my brain because I cannot remember my poems, but I can write a rap and remember it. I can write a
Wow.
song and remember the song, but I cannot memorize poems anymore. Like I don't know what happened. And my poems rhyme just like my raps rhyme, just like my songs rhyme. But there's some switch in my brain. I don't know what it is where I just can't remember. But I could write a rap.
Did
I
that
can
just
memorize.
start happening?
It's been like this for years. Yeah, it's been like this for
Huh.
years, and I don't
Interesting.
know why that is. But yeah, I think after my 20s, I was like I'd say maybe by like 30, 32, 33, I was done with all memorization of poetry.
Hmm.
Couldn't do it anymore.
But listen, you read it like you know it.
Thank you.
You do. I mean, because it's very few people really that can read like a performance. So that's a whole other skill. You know what I mean? To be able to hold a paper or hold your book and read from it, and connect with the audience. Because sometimes like the
Yeah.
paper makes me nervous. But a friend of mine, Felicia, shout out to Felicia Scott. She told me, because I was like, oh, I hate to read my poems, and she was like, listen, you better read in public because Black people weren't allowed to read in public for a long time. So you better.
Mm.
So now I be at the place like, yeah, and I'm gonna read this. Okay, I'm gonna read.
Absolutely. It's advertisement. One says people need to know you got a published book out there. That's important. But you know who told me? Who told me was Nikki Giovanni. I interviewed Nikki
Wow.
Giovanni for a podcast, and she said, I asked her, I was like, what advice would you give poets? Because that's a good question to ask,
Nikki Giovanni, yeah.
She was like, stop trying to memorize your poems. She told me, she was like, because when you start memorizing, you stop writing because you're stuck on this one poem and you're stuck on trying to perform it
Wow.
and get it a certain way. And that podcast is published on my SoundCloud. You could go.
I'm gonna go listen to that. I love Nikki Giovanni. I was named after her. So
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful.
yes,
Oh,
my mom
yay.
named me from the womb, child. She almost named me Nikki Giovanni. I'm glad she didn't because I ended up being a poet, and then it would have been some confusion happening. It'd been confusion if my name was Nikki Giovanni.
But
Been some
Nikki
confusion.
Jakarta is a very cool name and it's super
Yes,
memorable.
she named me Cut Nikki instead. Come on, Mama, come on, because she loved. And I was able to go back and I said, what did she like about Nikki Giovanni? And then when I became poet laureate, I was like, let me go back and listen to read what she was reading in the 70s, listen to what she was listening to in the 70s, and what drew her to her. You know what I'm saying? So give it up for the internet. The internet is.
Thank you, internet, for helping us connect to
you.
past, present, and future, because that's all three. We can connect to all three in this virtual space, and it's so important to do so because some of us were really afraid, much like how our and it's this thing with Black people. We got to get over our fears and stuff. We're so afraid of so many things. Black people afraid to go to the doctor. We afraid of this. We afraid of that, and it's real because of how we've been treated. But it's a new day. And it's time for us to take agency and go forth and do what we got to do. Be fearless as we can.
Yes. So you have a book. Let me go find the name of it.
No problem.
Hold on. She lives in music, right?
Yeah.
So do you think, are you better read? Do you think you're better read or heard?
This is going to sound arrogant, and I don't mean it arrogantly, but I know my strong suits and my shortcomings. I think the sound of my voice does a lot for the poetry. I feel like my poetry, I try to write in mind for it to be heard as well as read. I try to keep that in mind when I'm writing. But I mean, this body of work specifically, it's about the music. So it's definitely meant to be heard,
Yeah. So it's a book. It's a beautiful book. I love like the cover of it and everything. And we can buy it. Where can we buy it?
Yeah, you can. Okay, there's a lot of places. So hold on. You can go to Flower Song Press, which is the press that I'm published on, Flower Song Press. You can get it off of there. under this name that you might see on the screen, Andrea Vocab Sanderson. It might be on the screen somewhere. I don't know. It might be.
Yeah,
I
it
see
is.
it on mine. Okay, cool. So then you can get it on Target.com, BarnesandNoble.com, Amazon.com. Only thing, I don't have it on Goodreads, even though I should, because I have a Goodreads profile, I think, somewhere. But you can get it on all those other websites. So
Okay.
yeah.
Now, if we want to get it from you, can we get a signature? Oh, I don't really think that says Amazon, but y'all know us. I was like, I didn't spell it right, but y'all know what it is. Y'all know Amazon. Y'all was on there today. Y'all got some. Put it in your box. Go ahead and put it in your little cart so you can go ahead and buy it when payday comes. And it's a perfect gift. It's a perfect.
It is a nice gift, you
So
know.
what's in the book? Is it poems? Is it a song?
Well,
what are we getting?
good question. So in my book, okay, so when I did the book, I won a People's Choice Grant award, and I did a companion project. The album came first. They were supposed to be released on the same day, but long story, I didn't get into that. The album came first, so all of the album has been typed up and put in the book in addition to other poems. So it's a book.
Nice. So we can actually hear it and read it.
Yes, you can.
I like what you did there. Come on. Come on. I see you. I see you doing
So you
that.
can stream the album on any major music platform, from Apple Music to YouTube Music, all of them, Amazon Music. So the album is called She Tastes Like Music, because I taste like music. And the book is She Lives in Music.
I see
Same
you.
cover, same artwork. The artwork was done by a lady named Max Shelton.
That's right. Shout out that graphic designer, just the artwork to do it.
And then
okay, so I said I was gonna unpack this bio. So I mean, because you actually have several different platforms, right? So this is Poets and Platforms. You actually have lots of things going on. You got the music thing going on. I know you've done workshops, but let's talk about your you being a fellow and how this happened, and how did you win the Academy of American Poets Fellow? Let's talk about that. Let's talk on that. And have you started your initiative yet?
Yes, I'm done the first phase, which was just getting the stuff. So let me just talk about it, and then the question will answer itself as I talk. Okay. So my signature initiative is called the Echo Project, and it's a oral history project where I paired leaders in community that have accomplished great things, whatever field that they've excelled in. I've paired them with poets. The poets interviewed these leaders in community. The stories were told. We documented the interview. Then the poets took the information from the interview and created a spoken word performance piece about that individual that they interviewed. And there were about 10 leaders in community or so that were interviewed. And then we've had the poets. So their performances have been video documented. We turned in some very nice videos. The videos have not come out yet. The first phase was completed. So they interviewed them. Then they went through a workshop process where they were workshopped and edited their pieces, wrote the pieces, got with performance artists that helped them to figure out how to perform it, as well as to write it. And then we filmed them. And now I have the videos are wrapping up right now. Chibi, the guy who did the videography and everything, he's also a poet.
Chibi did videography? Chibi does video. Child,
videography.
I ain't asked him anything about that. I ain't know that happened. See, that's what I'm talking about.
Chibi's super talented. There's nothing Chibi can't do. He's a makeup artist.
Right,
he's a poet. Yeah, like he can beat a face. That child can beat a face. And he did the videography and pretty much did a lot of behind the scenes work for the Echo Project. I employed a lot of poets to come in and work with me on it, because it was not the vocab show. It was the San Antonio Poetry Community Show. And we came together and we did a great job, and these poets did a phenomenal job. And I can't wait to show everybody the pieces. So we're going to have an event where they unveil all these pieces and perform them, and the elders or the leaders in community get to see it. I'm going to have it archived at some local colleges, going to try to get it on what you may know, as PBS, which is KLRN to us, working through that. So there's several steps to this. And then I'm going to just repeat the project again, probably in the future.
That's fantastic. That's so great. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, that is amazing. So listen, I know that you also do workshops as well.
Yes.
Did I read somewhere that you were doing like workshops in correctional centers. Was that you? Did you do?
Yeah, I have because I work in a correctional center. I work at juvenile detention center. I've been there 19 years. I intend to retire at the end of this year, but I've
Wow.
gone in the back and I've taught workshops, and I'll teach a workshop anyway. Anybody that's willing to listen, I don't care if you 10 or you
Mhm.
85. If you're gonna listen and you want to write some poetry, I got you. Let's go. Let's teach this class. Let's get you creative writing. So yes, I've gone in the back
Wow.
and taught the
That's
kids.
amazing. I do see that you put up prompts online. You be trying to get everybody writing. You definitely about this literacy. It is not a game for you. It is
Nice.
about the it's
Gang,
about
gang,
these
gang,
words.
gang.
It's
Wait,
about
I
these
can put it
words,
on poet.
definitely.
It says poet. It's upside down, but I got the tattoo to prove it. Like I'm about that.
What? What? So after you put the poet laureate, well, let me just be clear first. Let me just be clear. Your title as the first African American poet laureate of San Antonio, Texas, is never going anywhere. You'll always have that title. Let's be clear, okay? Because you're gonna give up some poet laureate duties, but that title will always belong to you. So let's just be clear. You've made history. Somebody need to go ahead and put it in a book. This is the first one. You're the first one to do it. You left the door open. It's cool. You're gonna always be that person, regardless, right? But after this is done, then what? Do you already know then what? Then what?
I would like to be Texas poet laureate. That would be dope if I could get that to happen. But this answer applies to this question that you asked me earlier. I'm gonna be doing the same thing. You know what I'm saying? The same thing
Mhm.
I was doing before I got the title. Same thing I'm doing when I get the title. When the title, it may live on in the annals of history, but I'm gonna be same vocab, like
Cool.
doing workshops, doing performances, being creative, because I feel like when I stop being creative is when I die.
That's true. Because you are a creative. That's just a part of who you are. It's not, people have things that they do, and it's part of who they are. You know what I mean? It's not just this is part of your makeup. You know what I'm saying? You were born with this. This is part of it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go get biblical one more time. When when he created Adam and Eve, he said, "Be fruitful and multiply," and that I don't think that just was limited to procreating and having descendants. I
Mm-hmm.
felt it was like multiplying what I gave you and make more of it, and
Mm-hmm.
that is just what I live by. It's like whatever I have, I'm going to make more of it, and that's what Black women do in general. Like
Mm-hmm.
we not multiply what was given to us. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and you give me lemons, I'm gonna make some lemonade, a lemon meringue pie,
Mm-hmm.
name it, a lemon
Mm-hmm.
icing, whatever I can make out of lemons, I'm gonna make it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So we can do it.
Yes. I totally agree with it. Don't get us to don't get me started. Don't get me started up in here. In the word. Don't get me started. Um, do you are you supported? I'm gonna say financially, right? Because we when we are artists and we present something to the world, we think that our family and friends are supposed to be the first supporters of our books and musics or whatever projects that we put out. Are you supported by your friends and families financially?
I believe that I am, more so the community has really shown up for me in ways that have blown my mind. You know, I will say, and this is I struggle with how transparent to be about this, but what I will say is that I've done better this past year than I've ever done before. And just this weekend, because I've had, or this past week, I've done two shows, and I never take my books. I
Mm,
never take my CDs and my books with me when I go places. But this weekend, I made a conscious decision, say I'm going to take my stuff with me and sell. And when I went to go sell, everybody, one event I sold out. The next event I did, everybody that was in there bought something.
wow.
And it was a small group of people, but they all bought something. And
Mhm.
so as far as selling merchandise, this past weekend was the most lucrative weekend I've ever had in selling merchandise. Like community showed up. And I've gone places and people haven't bought a dang thing.
Right.
But this past weekend, people bought up all the stuff, and I was
Because it's the year of the harvest, girl. You didn't know? I already I claimed that for me. I give that to you, the year of the harvest, because you done all this work, right? So now the seed is planted. So now you about to get your harvest time. So yes, I'm gonna give that to you too. I'm gonna claim that as the year right there for you as well. That is my year. That's gonna be your year, and that's what's gonna happen.
Sounds good. I'm here for it.
Yes, I definitely asked that because a lot of times, artists are saying like my mama, well, not my mama, because my mama gonna always get a free book. Let's be clear. But a lot of times you don't get the support. People, your friends and your family expect that you're gonna give them this project for free, so they can be like, "This is my cousin, my friend, my whoever." You know what I'm saying? And they don't financially support you, but you have fans out there. I do believe that if you have an art, if you have a talent, that it'll be supported, and it doesn't have to be from your family. Like your family don't have to necessarily be your family.
Well, they get tired of me, I'm sure, because I'm always doing something. It's like, for instance, this is Black History Month. I got together with two friends of mine, and we put out a song for Black History Month as a love letter to the Black community called "Free to Be Me."
I have that on my phone. I got it on my phone. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I got it in the text message. I listened to it at work. It's amazing. I definitely will post it again. I don't have my phone over here. Otherwise, I would.
It's all good.
Yeah.
I'm just happy that you listen. Thank you, sis, for listening.
Yes,
And I just want the community to know that I love them, because I do stuff for everybody. So you may see me over here with the white folks one day doing a workshop, and next day I'm over hanging out with the Latinos doing something. But I want Black people to know that I love us. I love us, and I ride for us. And if I can do something to empower us, especially with literacy, because that's one thing that they tried to keep from Black people through systemic oppression. You know what I'm saying? And it's so important for us to do it. And whoever's saying, I got you. If you want to listen to that song that we just put out, we're called Daytime, and that's DAY, but time is spelled with the Y as well. So Daytime, and Free to Be Me. It's weird the way it's spelled. I can put it in the chat here. Maybe Kaniki can help with it.
Yeah, put it in there. Put it in there.
Me. So that, and I'll put daytime in there too, just so there will be no confusion on how it's spelled. So there it's in the private chat, and she can share it with you all. But my friends can sing. We ain't gonna talk about me. Yes, I did sing on the track. I don't even care about me singing on the track. My homies can sing. David Jacoby, who has his own gospel album, and Yvette Harden, who is at one half of a gospel hip hop duo. And this song is not a gospel song, but we do talk about God in the song, and it is an inspirational track. So you can play it in front of your grandma and your grandkids. You know what I'm saying? This song is for all the Blacks.
I know that's right. It is beautiful. It's a beautiful song. So let's talk about you as a person. First of all, do you think that is writing like a spiritual practice for you? Is it a hobby, or is it just art?
It is all of the above. And it's also a source of financial income. Let's keep it 100.
There it is. Let's keep it real.
Too.
Let's keep it real.
Yeah. And I love it. I use it just as it's also freedom for me, because no one can take your freedom from you. That form of freedom, you can write, even if you don't write it on pen and paper, or you don't do that, you can write it up here. And it belongs to you. It belongs to you.
It belongs to you.
And it was given to us as a gift from God, because I feel like everything that we create as human beings, it exists already in the heavens, and we're just channeling it to the earth realm.
Ashe. Yes, I totally agree with that. What are you most proud of?
I'm proud of the fact that my family looks at me with pride. That means everything, that my mama and my daddy have gotten to see me present in governmental spaces, where your city hall, and they've seen me on TV, and they've seen me, but just the pride in their eyes and in their heart, knowing that my little brother that's 17 gets to see me. That's all I care about, is the fam,
Who are you proud of that you haven't told lately?
That's a good question. That's a very good question. Um, can I just say black people? Is that
Black
okay? Just
people.
black
Black
people.
people. Thank you, girl. Thank you. Thank you, child. Let me
We've
say it.
been doing it. Like,
Yes.
you know what? You know what? I can't tell this woman because I've never met her and she's deceased. But I was watching a documentary on this lady named Rosetta Tharpe.
Hmm.
They call her the godmother of rock and roll. And she's a black woman who grew up in the black church and started out as a gospel artist. And then she transitioned into secular music. And she was like 50 years old with a guitar playing like rock and singing her heart out. And I
Wow.
watched her documentary and I was blown away by this woman because I was like, man, I feel like we cut from the same cloth, like
Mm,
just using charisma and charm and stage presence to just get up and like just do a thing for people.
mm.
And she was super dynamic. But Rosetta Tharpe, her documentary was really dope, and I was so proud of her, even though I didn't know her, you know. But yeah,
Yeah. I'm definitely gonna have to check that out.
yeah, I'll text you the link to it. It's on YouTube.
Cool. Somebody posted Rosetta Park. Okay. On YouTube. I'm definitely gonna check that out. I'll be looking at it while I'm at work. Don't tell work.
Well, I did too because I was sleepy, and I'm at work in the middle of the night, so it was like 4 in the morning, and I was sitting there like my eyes were burning. I was tired. I was like, God, what can I do? I was like, YouTube,
Yeah.
watch this
Yep.
documentary.
Yep. Um, what was I gonna ask? Do you have well, since we talk about Rosetta Thorpe, let me ask, what do you think or what do you want your legacy to be?
Just the idea, what I've talked about, the freedom of expression, like be free to express yourself. Don't bite your lip, don't hold your tongue, don't, whatever those expressions are, is a yeah. Don't bite your tongue, don't hold your lips, whatever. I don't care.
Mhm.
Like let it out. Because we are reservoirs. There is life inside of us that has different forms of manifestations. And maybe it's
Mhm.
planting a garden, which some people started doing during the pandemic. Like there are
Yeah.
people who never had plants, but they were like, I'm gonna start having plants in my house. And I'm
Mhm.
now like they got plants everywhere. There's
Yep.
some people who didn't cook. And then during the pandemic, they were like, I'm gonna start cooking because I can't go
Mhm.
places. But just like we are limitless as human beings. And so many times we put limitations on ourselves, like I can't learn a new thing, I can't do a new thing. But there's
Mhm.
another form of expression that's inside of you waiting to come
Mhm.
alive, and just kind of try.
Mhm.
Who knows what you might be good at? You maybe should go try something new.
Yep. Did you during the pandemic, did you pick up anything that you weren't doing or did you learn something?
Yeah,
from that
I
time?
got it may not seem like a big deal, but Canva, I got on Canva and I
Oh yeah.
started. Before I didn't make my own flyers or do any of that type of thing, and then I started creating stuff in on the digital platform because I needed the visuals for when I was teaching, and I
Mhm.
needed all this stuff for slideshow presentations and stuff like that. I did learn to cook a couple things that I never cooked before.
Mhm.
Never, but those are the two things I would say is like cooking something that I've never tried to cook before and trying Canva. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Canva is great. It is. So, do you have like a favorite, since you're Christian, maybe Bible verse or a quote or affirmation that you use?
Um, Something that I don't want to misquote it, but there's a scripture that's always been one of my favorite. Um, Hold on, I don't. It's talk amongst yourselves. Oh, I messed it up.
I'm not gonna misquote this scripture. I'm gonna look on my phone. Let me find
Um, I'm typing as fast as I
it.
can.
Okay, she's typing. While she's typing, you go ahead and type in your phone. Your Cash App right there is on the screen. Go ahead and send her some Cash App because she's giving us the word today. She has her
So
Venmo as well.
I will paraphrase, and it comes from Psalms 31, and it's into your hands I commit my spirit, O Lord, you've ransomed me. But basically, this idea of we human life is so priceless, but people put a price on it all the time.
Mm,
But the only thing worthy of a human life is a human life, and
mm,
I feel that Christ. he made the ultimate sacrifice by giving his life for mine so that even though we might die in one form, we'll live again.
Mhm.
Um, and so is this idea of our souls being ransomed. He thought that we're so valuable. You are so valuable that someone gave their life for you.
Mm,
And every human being needs to know that you are that valuable, that you are worth someone laying down their life so that you can have life.
mm,
And we need to carry that in our spirit and know that we are loved at that supreme level
mhm,
of love. Walk around knowing that you're loved, feel that love, channel that love, source that love, and let it build up within you. And that's
mhm,
really how I try to live my life, knowing that I'm loved and loving other people.
mhm. I
Get on my
share.
nerves, but I'm saying I love them.
So when, because let me tell you, I don't know when Passion of the Christ came out. I don't remember, right? But I remember like growing up in church, of course, like growing up as Christian, and I grew up AME Zion,
Come on.
and I did not get, I didn't get it, even though like doing, how they show Easter and they show everything when I was a
Mhm.
child, right? I did not, like you're saying, know the supreme of love. When did you really understand? Because for me, it was like Passion of the Christ. I was like, I'm on Passion of the Christ, bawling like they ain't have to do my Jesus like that. Okay, so that was me,
Right.
right? But
Brutal
Passion of the
murder.
Christ, I'm sure an adult at the time. I have to look up and see, but I didn't get it. I didn't really get it as a child. I'm singing in the choir, here rolls on Easter Day, like not really getting it. I didn't really get it.
I'll say this. I feel like when it comes to understanding love, it takes a lifetime to understand what love truly is because it has so many different manifestations. For instance, I taught a workshop just last week called A Conscious Decision to Walk in Love. Or no, it was on Valentine's Day. I taught a workshop called A Conscious Decision to Walk in Love. And when I went to do my research, it was saying there are 8 forms of love. There's agape, there's eros, there's
Mm-hmm.
um all these other forms of love, right? And with all these different names. And I'm like, so love has so many different manifestations. And I feel like every day you can have a different revelation of what love looks like.
Right.
Because it's a living thing. Like it is embodied
Mm-hmm.
in human form through Christ in a sense, but then there's so many other forms of love that we can give each other and walk in. And so yeah, understanding love, I feel like I'm still discovering, and I will
Mm-hmm.
continue, you know. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Who's on your playlist?
Who's on my playlist? You know who I've been listening to, and this dude is from Texas, and I love him. Leon Bridges.
Leon Bridges. Okay, I'm gonna have to check
Mhm.
out Leon Bridges.
Oh, sis, this brother, he got this song called Conversion, and I call it sacrilegious sexy. Like, I don't know if he's religious or not, but the way he talking about this girl and how she saved him with this passionate like sensuality to the song, but the whole metaphor is this idea of conversion and like how he changed because of her love. Like when you change yourself to
Wow.
because somebody loves you, and it's not always a bad thing. People always try to act like it's no, you shouldn't change who you are. No, when you love somebody and they love you, you're gonna change. You're not gonna be the same person
No,
because
you're
love
not.
transforms folks. It really does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a movie that I was watching, and I can't remember the name of the movie, but I remember a line in there. This man was saying that he was talking to this woman, and he was saying that he was a diabetic and that he had medication that he was supposed to take, right? But he's like, I halfway take my medication or whatever, and he was like, but now, like, you make me want to take my pills.
Mm.
And she was like, what? He was like, I'm saying, like, I want to be healthy and live. You make me want to take my pills. I was like, come on, I gotta find out what movie that was. I was like, oh, so you want to do better? You want to be healthy? You want to,
Right.
Yes,
Right. And I
yeah.
feel like Black women understand that in a way that's different because the posturing of the Black man, unfortunately, I blame racism and I blame systemic oppression. Like the way that our love for Black men, it really, they call it a do right man.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the old folks used to call it. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like love will make you do right. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and this
It's a whole
idea
song.
of right. You know what I'm saying? It's the idea of you straighten up and you change your posture because number one, you want to live, but you're not just living for yourself. You realize you're living for that person that you love so that you can help them be better. You can provide for them. You can stay on this earth long enough to share love with them. And how important that is. And that's why I say we do change for each other, and it should be for the best, hopefully.
Right.
Be your better self. We be our better selves, be my better, you know what I'm saying, for that other person. Yeah.
Yes. Are you in love right now?
I like a guy quite a bit. This is kind of I like quite a bit.
I'm in real good like in life.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean, I could love. It's not hard to fall in love with him to me because I see so much greatness in him. But we're dating. We're dating successfully.
Nice. I like dating.
You're not my boyfriend though. I'm still single. So you know what I'm saying? What's up?
Let's be clear. Let's be clear. But we're dating successfully, and I like you a lot, a whole lot. That's good. Like it's good.
Yeah.
Like it's good. And then some people have love and no like. Don't get me started. Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
That part.
Don't get me started. Okay. Let me see. Let me see if I asked all of my little questions right, because I crafted a couple of questions, but you know how
you did great.
We can go off on a little tangent. Is there anybody like a historical figure that you identify with?
Ooh. Man. I mean, I see little sprinkles here and there, but not overall, not too much. But there's definitely women that I admire the heck out of them for the things that they've accomplished in their life, and I like their skill set, and I'm like, ooh, yo, sauce. Let me borrow a little bit of
a little sauce. Definitely. I understand a little. I like some people's drive. So yeah. So that's the thing. Not necessarily like what they're driving for, but I do understand like the drive and things. How do you celebrate yourself?
Naps.
Come on now.
I like to just spend spend quiet time, but with music, just jamming, just dancing, just enjoying, vibing. That's what I like to do for self-celebration. You know what I'm saying? I spend too much money on clothes and hair and nails. I do all that stuff too, but like music is very personal to me. And yeah.
For the person right now who's looking at you and they're thinking about stopping. What would be your advice to them?
Take a break and come back.
Oh, good advice.
Because sometimes we need to just live. We hit these writer's blocks or these moments where we feel like our reservoir is dammed and we can't. And you just need to live. Like, stop putting pressure on yourself to write. There are people who are extremely successful writers who have gone more than a year without writing.
Right.
And it's okay. We see life expectancy a little different now that we've gone through a pandemic and stuff. And now we're entering into a season of war post-pandemic. So that's also very scary. I don't know what's happening in Russia and the Ukraine. They got a lot going on over there. But what I will say is it's okay to just live. It's okay to, and maybe just journal a little bit during this season. If you can't write a poem or write your novel or your manuscript, and don't try to get so much done in one day. Like, just get a little bit. Just do, even if it's just sentences. Just do what you can do and stop putting pressure on yourself. To whatever. Stop pressuring yourself.
Stop pressuring yourself. Okay, I'm definitely going to ask you to give us another piece, and I'm going to ask my co-hosts to come back, and if they have any questions for you, and if anybody has any questions on Facebook or any questions on YouTube, I'm going to ask you to put those in the chat. But before I do that, I am going to ask you to shout out 2 people or organizations or promoters who hosted you the best when they booked you for something.
Ooh, that's a lot of pressure.
I only asked her for 2. So like, if she doesn't say you, she only had 2.
Okay, I will say I can't say they hosted me the best, but they were very, very welcoming. One is the Carver Community Cultural Center here in San Antonio. They ended up giving me a residency, but anytime I deal with the Carver, it is such a blessing.
Mm,
They are so pleasant. They're so accommodating. They let me go off on outlandish flights of fancy to get stuff done, and they're just like,
nice.
okay, sure, sis, do it. Go ahead, go right ahead. Um, that's one. And then I don't even know what the poetry looks like up in Austin, Texas, but back in the day, there was a group of people, they were called the Neo Soldiers.
Mm.
They were black folks with a name like that, right? The Neo Soldiers were super hospitable, and my Austin family, and there's a plethora of people that treat me like a queen whenever I go into their spaces and stuff like that. But I just want to shout them out, and if I could shout out a human being, I want to shout out this young lady named Naomi Something to Say. Naomi is a poet here in San Antonio, but she's also a singer. She also does theater and she makes jewelry. She's just an entrepreneur, is what I like to call her, because that's what I call her. In business.
I like that.
Entrepreneur. She out here. She got a hustle for y'all, and it's all good quality product. Awesome young lady.
Mm. Okay, I'm gonna ask you to, do a piece. I'm gonna
Okay.
exit myself, and I'll be.
Since we were talking about Breonna Taylor, I'm going to do the poem that I wrote for her. So sorry, it might be a little heavy. It's called Breonna's Psalm. I am so sorry. They neglect to chant of your exquisiteness, place you on as lofty a pedestal as male martyrs. They overlook your pouty lips and voluptuousness. I am so sorry that you were taken from us. No one came to your rescue as you did for so many others. You are a shero, a strength sung from a now silenced throat, a blues note now boiling up from a furious society of sisterhood that demands your justice. We cry out with your blood. The soil weeps with us. Your brown skin was baked in love. You were too buttery rich for their understanding. You befuddled them blind with your bold blackness. They woke you from your dreams with a nightmare of American death. Like a retrospective noose on the neck, the ancestors shook you loose from your skin. The 8 bullets called a vicious cadence, touched your sacred temple trembling, tossing to a steel, hardened still. But you were propelling a movement. God, give us mercy and grace to march on this heavily trodden path to speak of your glory. We shall overcome. We shall take over the tides. We shall overtake the tides trying to tumultuously turn against us. We are tempest tossed, but hope is not, nor will it ever be lost. Our faith is stored up in the softness of your eyes, closed yet compelling our hearts to beat. Pound, palpitate, push, parade, proceed, pray, and intercede for a sovereign God to pronounce judgment upon our adversaries, upon your adversaries, for us to watch the fall of Babylon and its systems and its one thick tongue of hate. May it be decimated. May the earth quake with its Jericho trembling, and we will wash our feet in the rubble and dance a ceremony of praise because we passed over into our promise. Our weary bones will rest in green pastures, and we will peaceably study war no more. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. Hey, Miss Cayenne.
Because she hot. Cayenne.
Hey, welcome back, girl genius. Man, that was separated you from your skin. The end, the study war no more was really settled upon me. That was beautiful.
Yeah, that was powerful.
Thank
This
you.
entire interview was powerful. This entire
It really
interview,
was. It really
I'm
was.
just like, I'm so full. So, oh my gosh, if you could have caught my facial expressions throughout this entire interview, It's lovely. Absolutely lovely.
Thank you.
This is one you're going to want to, if you missed the beginning, the middle, anything like that, you're going to want to run this back and rewatch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely run this back.
Awesome.
Miss Cayenne, you got some questions?
Yeah, Vocab, you talked about first of all, let me just say, I do a segment on Sundays called Sunday Coaching, and it's just me kind of pontificating and giving whatever I think is encouraging.
Pontificate.
All right, a little pontification. And I thought it was amazing because today I was talking a lot about what you were elaborating on today, around seeds and gifts and multiplication and growth. So it was really confirming, but also just filling. And you talked about gifts from God and being fruitful and multiplying. Girl, you were just doing a doggone thing. I'm curious though, because one thing I've seen in my own life is there's a thread, and if you look back, I'm a poet, or I like to get the attention of artists. We all can understand our gifts, right? But if I start to look back familially, family, DNA, I'll see traces of that. I'll see traces. I often, I don't talk about it much, but like, for example, Rosa Parks is a cousin of my grandmother. I'll see traces of, oh, my grandmother was an advocate for wrongs that were done. You see traces of this gift in your line. Have you seen that in your family line for you? And where did it fall? Where do you see those connections?
One is my grandpa on my mom. First of all, thank you for the question, and thank you for listening and inviting me into this space. My grandfather was a pastor, but he was an evangelist, and his passion was street witnessing. And he would take the bus downtown, and he would witness all day long on the streets. Yeah. And so I feel like I'm always running these streets trying to give a good word.
Yeah.
And my gospel may look a little different from my grandpa's gospel, but it's still the good news nonetheless.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I do
Totally
see it.
Totally get that. Yeah, totally get that. Wow. Awesome.
So there's another. Can I just shout out one more before I stop? Is my grandmother used to run with the NAACP real hard, and she was a registrar with the NAACP, and so I see that the activism bug comes from my granny on my daddy's side. So I see the thread there, and that's an awesome question, by the way. It's a really good question.
Yeah, definitely. There's some strong genes. So strong genes. Oh my goodness. Are you originally from San Antonio?
Yes, so I'm from San Antonio. My both of my parents are from Texas, but some of my grands or great grands were from Louisiana. So I got a little bit of that in there. There's some spice in here as well.
That's that sauce.
Right.
What I cayenne come from. You got to have a little bit of spicy peppers in there.
Okay.
Yes.
Just a little bit.
Little kick.
Okay, girl genius. Do you have any questions besides our last famous question?
No, I'm just like enthralled by everything I was listening to. I was like, I think all the questions I had either got answered or went out of my head because it was like, what just happened?
Well, thank you very much.
You will forgive me. It's been a very long,
okay.
good but long day. Normally I'm
Same.
like,
I taught a workshop earlier today
wow.
in a little town called Bernie that's not very far from here, but it's a little drive to go up to this town. And I taught a workshop up there, and then came back, so make sure I made it back in time for our time together, because I appreciate this space and this time together with other sisters.
Yes.
We appreciate having you here. Like I said, this has just been sort of a all night. This is, again, I reiterate, this is one of those I'll go back and watch and pick up some stuff I didn't catch the first time. I've been sitting in the background listening, like, really?
It is,
it
was fabulous. And I just want to say again, we say it every time we get on here. many people have dubbed Keep the Mic On as a master class. So today when I was advertising, hey, come on, tune in. That's what I just went ahead and said. I was like, tune into this master class. This is before it started. And I was like, doggone it. That's exactly what I believe we got to tonight. And it definitely is worth going back through. There's so many nuggets that you drop for us. And so, doing what you've been doing, creating spaces, being true to that call, if you will, for such a period of time. I mean, we kind of talked about it, but what would you say even to individuals who are emerging poets or emerging artists who are doing their thing, but they're trying to find their way to their niche, if you will, and how to make a difference in their lane with their gift or that kind of thing, and how to stay the course. It sounds like you are clear about, I'm staying the course. I've been doing it. I'm doing it now. I'm gonna do it in the future. That's kind of what I heard. Right. So what would you say as advice or direction for emerging artists to kind of get in that pocket and how to stay there?
For me, it's collaboration. Because we get tired of, maybe you don't, I get tired of myself.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you have your own sandbox, but sometimes leave your sandbox and go play in somebody else's. Go take your toys over to their sandbox and go play with them. Yeah. You got to have friends. You got to have collaborators, because that helps you stay fresh, stay new. It helps you challenge yourself. It helps you, because when our energies come together, I'm not going to sound always the same. I'm going to be influenced by you, and you're going to be influenced by me. And it's just this dialogue that we're having in front of other people, whether it be in a book or on a song or on a theater production or whatever we're doing. It's going to, even in this podcast, like there's things that I wouldn't say if it was just me talking by myself, but because I'm talking to you, wonderful ladies, I'm coming up with something different. I have a different way that I'm voicing what I have to say. Yeah, collaboration.
That's excellent. That's good stuff.
That was an excellent question, and that's a really good point. And I kind of get a little bit of that again at the back end of all these shows, because we get people from all over the place, and so we get some perspective. It's not like it's not like, I love sitting in a room, or virtual or otherwise, but I love sitting in a room with people and, kind of getting their take on things.
Yeah.
Just a fresh change of perspective.
Yeah.
Right.
Can work wonders.
Wonders.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's so great to have a little bit, you got to know who you are, but also be open to influence from other people, because there's certain things that we can take from our interactions that we can walk away from. And it's like, I take a part of you with me. Mm-hmm. And so you keep living even through my art and the things. It's like, Maya Angelou's not with us anymore, but if we read her, then a little bit of Phenomenal Woman rubbed off on us.
Yeah.
And whoever you like, whatever, if she wasn't your cup of tea, maybe it was Gwendolyn Brooks, maybe it was Sonia, maybe it's Sonia Sanchez. There's somebody that resonates inside of you, and you can see glimpses of it, peekaboos of it in the work that you might be creating.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to emphasize there is a huge difference in letting a little bit of influence come in and out, and because this has been a discussion, at least in my world lately, my little small world lately, and wholly taking from other, like
plagiarizing or embodying.
Yeah.
Let's be clear.
Yeah, let's be clear.
Yeah.
Especially during slam season, because but somebody is stealing somebody's work, and they've been talking about all of it on Facebook or the Book of Faces.
I wish we could. I wish we. I'm going to say it like this. Let's not. Act like the elephant in the room isn't an elephant. That it's not sitting on your feet currently.
Child, you
acknowledge the thing. Acknowledge the thing. Acknowledge the thing.
I was all on live listening to somebody say a poem from somebody else I know, and I was like, "That I'm all in the chat. That is not your poem. That is not your poem. That is." Let me tag.
It's happened too many times, and I can tell you, there's at least two people that have been on this show that have had whole books, projects, and other things plagiarized, like wholly plagiarized. There have been two people that have been on this show that have been wholly plagiarized, like to the point where like lawsuits were involved, plagiarized.
God, wow.
Wow.
And that brings up a great point to document your stuff to a point to where if somebody steals from you, you got receipts. This was mine first.
Right.
Back up off me. And it's not easy to get to that point, but I mean, there's the Library of Congress. We can go there. You know, there's getting published. There's getting finding ways to document your work to where you can prove it's yours. But I swear, every single season we come up on slam finals, and there comes an outcry that somebody done stole somebody's bike. My chain. My grandmama gave me that chain. You stole my chain every single time.
Pretty much. We actually had who was it? eBaby. We had eBaby on here, and eBaby works for in copyrights. And we had a whole episode on how to do copyrights and make sure you're protecting your work. And you're right though. Every season there's always one, and you're just like,
I forgot one of my questions. It's an important question before Danielle asks the last question I have to ask. Okay. We already know how we can support vocab at the bottom right there at the screen. We already know that you can drop some in the Cash App. And if you're watching it on a playback, guess what? You can still drop it in the Cash App. You don't have to watch it live. You can still do it right now. We already know how we can buy her book. We already know to go to her website. We already know to follow her. So I want to know, for those people who don't have money, how do we support you?
Stream my music.
Wow.
You can stream me. It don't cost nothing to get on. Get on Spotify, get on Apple Music, get on all of them. Type in Andrea Vocab Sanderson and just listen. Even if you don't want to listen, put it on low. Go to sleep.
My Spotify is now open, ma'am. We handling this too.
Follow me. That's what you can do, and I appreciate
I have a
that.
whole listen. If you know me, any poet I know that has stuff on Spotify, I have like this curated playlist of like their projects, the ones that they have on Spotify. Like I have whole albums and stuff, and it's absolutely fun. I love just mixing and matching when I want to hear. Again, I can't see y'all in person, but I want to hear the things. So there we go. So we're gonna put you in the poet in the open mic playlist.
Yeah, hopefully I got something for one of your moods, whatever mood you might be in. Hopefully I got something that fits the bill for it. And I appreciate you doing that. I don't take it for granted. It means a lot to me when people listen, and sometimes just the social currency, because social currency is important. Just coming by and be like, hey, I was thinking about you. You're doing a good job, or I encourage you, or I said a prayer for you. That is more valuable than money. Sometimes is that prayer. Pray for me. That's a good one. So appreciate it.
Got you.
Absolutely. It is now saved. Tomorrow's listening. I'll be at work listening to poetry. There we go.
Right. Got
and
you.
I sing too. So there's some songs in there. You ain't just gonna get.
I know. I heard that. And I'm waiting. Like I'm telling you, tomorrow is gonna be that day. I'm just going through the whole catalog. What's on here? Let's go.
And it's all clean music, so you don't got to worry about no F-bombs or nothing crazy. It's all no. There's no explicit lyrics in my stuff.
Gotcha.
Listen, you got to know me. Here's the thing: a wise poet, and I know exactly what it was. A wise poet once told me, everybody could use a little bit of ratchet in their life, just a little bit. So. I got the good, clean stuff. I'm all for it. With a little bit of ratchet in your life. throw a trap song in there and change your mood. But whatever floats your boat, whatever your version of ratchet is, throw a little trap song in there somewhere. You need a little ratchet in your life. It's all good.
Free to Be Me actually does have trap in it. Free to Be Me, the song I put out with my friends, that is a trap style song. There's still no cursing in it, but it is trap. It is there's definitely trap.
That's fine.
I'm listening.
We're here for it.
Excited. It's gonna be on tonight. Like you said, tomorrow, tonight, we're gonna have a listening party. Because my music list and listening is very eclectic. So I like it all pretty much. I like it all, mix it all up or what have you. So I'm excited to listen. I'm excited to listen and share it. Did you
Thank
hear
you very much.
That too. And definitely share.
And share it.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, Danielle. Dun, 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 for the last question.
The last question, the fun question, the Jeopardy question, I gotta think about this, right?
Daily double? Is this the daily double?
Yes, it is. Every time. Because people have the same reaction every time if they've never noticed what the last question is. So the question goes like this. Now that you have been on the show, and let me go through all the things here. Let's talk about usually books, products, art, like the tangible stuff. That's what I do. So mostly books, but that. Miss Cayenne does passion projects. This segment, and Sherry's segment is From Behind the Microphone. It's a sort of a behind the actor studio type interview. So now that you've been refreshing the segments, who do you think would make a great guest on this show?
Ariana Brown.
I don't know Ariana.
Is not on the list.
I don't think
and
so.
Probably should be.
I don't know who Ariana Brown is.
She's amazing. I mentored her when she was a teenager. I discovered her at a festival called Luminaria. She was up on stage performing, and I was like, "You with the hat. When you're finished, I need to talk to you," because she had on a hat that night. I mentored with her. We co-founded the only youth open mic for young adults, and it was the only young adult slam here. She was in high school, but she co-founded the slam with us. She graduated, got all her degrees and her letters on her name. She has books and chapbooks. She has hundreds of thousands of streams on YouTube for her poetry. That young lady is powerful. Yeah,
we will add her to the list. Yeah. And when I say list, y'all don't understand. The people, the other hosts get it. There is a spreadsheet. I wish I was exactly the spreadsheet of like people we want to get on the show. And we ask all of our guests, just throw some names out there. If there's somebody that should be on our radar, let us know. If there's somebody you want to see, like I said, this is almost a master. This is a master class. If there's somebody that's dope enough to do this, that you think would give an excellent master class to the people that watch this show, let us know. If somebody else comes to mind, email us after the fact too. But I will definitely add that to the list.
Cool. Her name is in the chat.
So thank you. Well, thank you so much, Vocab, for joining us. You have been amazing. You always are. Every time I see you, I cannot wait till this panoramic is gone so you can come out to this DMV area so we can feature you at all the Bus Boys and Poets.
In Ponderosa, in Panini, and so we can I called it the pancetta the other day. I was like, this pancetta needs to go on somewhere.
My daughter calls it the Panera bread. The Panera bread, yeah.
Hilarious. So next week we will be back. Isn't it Sherry's week? What's this week?
Nope. Next week is me. Next week is me because we're going into March. So next week is me, and I will tell you exactly who we have. Next week we are back. And I held it up. I said it. I was going to do it the last time we were on the show because he happened to be in the chat. And I was like, oh, we need to have you here. So next week we have Kerwin Sutherland out of Philly.
Nice.
I was like, you've been on the list for a minute. And the fact that you stuck your head in the last one, I'm like, okay, now I just snatched up Kerwin Sutherland. So he'll be here on Sunday. And if y'all know Kerwin, this is going to be a really, really fun interview.
Have y'all been watching Abbott Elementary?
Watching who?
Abbott Elementary.
I watched the first 2 episodes.
You gotta watch Abbott Elementary because y'all talking about Philly, and that's where the show is based out of. It's based out of South Philly, like an elementary school or in Philly, and it's just like it's just like The Office, but it's like The Office in a classroom setting in elementary school. Yeah. Sorry, I was
It
like,
is
my hair
very
has to
funny.
go away. So yeah, you got to watch, especially the episode about Fade, like the drug episode, like about drug prevention. That
Mhm.
episode is so dang on funny. Oh my god.
Is this on? Where is this? It's on Netflix. Where is it?
I think it's NBC. Is it
NBC.
NBC?
Okay.
On major
Okay.
network. Yeah.
It's a regular daily network. I want to say it's NBC.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right. So watch Abbott Elementary. Follow Vocab. Share her stuff. Support her financially. Put her book in your cart. Join us again next week when Girl Genius will be presenting. Let's talk about is it the book?
It is the book. He has the
Let's
book.
talk about
yes.
the book next week. We stream live every
Brand
Sunday.
new one, if I'm not mistaken.
A new book. Okay, come back
Either
next
new or
week.
newer, relatively new.
Definitely
Yeah.
for the new at 7:00 Eastern Standard Time on our YouTubes and Facebook channels. Like, follow, subscribe, be safe, wash your hands.
Wash your hands. Please do. Be safe, wash your hands, do all the things, kill all the germs.
Kill
I'd
all
like
the
to get
germs.
back in the universe, in the world. That'd be great. Okay, thanks.
Miss Cayenne, bring up why you got the hand sanitizer. Good night, y'all.
We'll see you all next week.